Nation, hope you're having an awesome Thursday. My name is Philip DeFranco, and if you're not familiar, this is where I talk about news, tap stuff, and things that matter to me today. And before we get started, you should know this Philip DeFranco show is brought to you by Click It or Ticket. In an effort to save lives, law enforcement will be out in force from May 20th to June 2nd. The main point here is be a BAMF, just be smart. Don't be a douchebag and not wear a seatbelt. I mean, it's estimated that in 2011, seatbelts saved around 12,000 people. I say this because I love your faces, and it would make me very sad if I no longer could. So main point, click it or ticket. And the first thing I want to talk about is a story related to the question I get the most, and I also feel like I'm least qualified to answer. Is it worth it to go to college? I personally believe that it is, especially if like you want to be an engineer. Or if you get the jack of all trades business degree, then that's great too. I do not believe it is necessary for art students for how expensive it is, like what you could actually do with that money. I personally can't justify it. And working with a lot of people that did go through it, they were like, oh no, it's kind of just a waste of money. But the reason I mention it is new data came out today regarding people who went to college. The US Bureau of Census found that people that graduated from college, got their degree, only 62.1% of them are now working in a job that requires a degree. And they also found that the answer to the most annoying question you can get freshman year over and over again may not matter. That question being, so what's your major? Because they found that only 27.3% of college graduates have a job that is related to their major. They also found something that does make sense. Location matters. For example, the odds of you finding a job that matches with your degree is 6% higher in a place like New York than it is in like Syracuse. That being because most likely there's just more jobs. So it's something to think about. Is college for you? I think higher learning is very important, but you should also not just do something because other people do it. If it's something you're gonna use, great. I mean, I have a lot of friends still back home that are like going through community college for something that they're gonna use. I'd say what's more important is whether you go to college or you do not, try and get real world experience because that's what really matters. You wanna be an accountant? I don't know why you would, but I love to hire people like you. While you go to school, maybe intern at the same time. So those are my thoughts, but Nation, I'd love to know what you think. Do you think college is a must these days? Do you think that it's like maybe for some things? Let me know. I'd love to know where your head's at. And I want to talk about our BAMF of the day, Ingrid Leal Kennett. She's a 48-year-old Cub Scout leader and mother of two. And she's being credited with calming down and distracting the two men who killed a soldier in Woolwich yesterday. Yesterday, that London soldier was hacked to death and thrown into the street. And that's when Ingrid saw the man in the street. She jumped off the bus to try and attend to his wounds. And that's when she confronted one of the men who did this. I mean, you look at this picture, that's ballsier than anything I would ever do. She explained the situation saying, when I went up there was the black guy with a revolver and a kitchen knife. He had what looked like butcher's tools and he had a little axe to cut the bones and two large knives and he said, move off the body. So I thought, okay, I don't know what's going on here, and he was covered with blood. I thought I had better start talking to him before he starts attacking anybody else. I thought these people usually have a message, so I said, what do you want? She also said to the reports that these men might have been on drugs or they might have been drunk. No. This man was in full control of his decisions and he knew what he wanted to do. One of the men even saying, we want to start a war in London tonight. She was able to distract the men long enough until police arrived. They shot the two men and now have them in custody. And Ingrid, that is why you just did something above and beyond. That is why you are our BAMF of the day. Also, it should be noted the only other person's name that matters in this story other than Ingrid is the murdered soldier who we now know was Lee Rigby. As expected, this murder also resulted in backlash towards the British Muslim community. And that's why I think it's so fantastic that David Cameron came out saying this was an attack on Britain and a betrayal of Islam. To the Christians out there, imagine if the world saw Christianity as just the Westboro Baptist Church and people that blew up abortion clinics. Then our lovely lady of the day is Miss Jennifer Aniston. Most people, of course, remember her as Rachel from Friends back in the day. Then she made some movies that were hit or miss. I think the last thing I liked her in was Horrible Bosses, and she was awesome in that, but everyone in that movie was awesome. I think it's like the Charlie Day effect. If Charlie Day's in your movie, it's just good. But the reason Jennifer Aniston is our lovely lady of the day today is a new trailer came out for her new movie, We're the Millers. In the movie, she plays a stripper, and we get to see what Jennifer Aniston looking like a stripper looks like, and it looks like this. So I'm already a fan of this movie, and you mix that in with Jason Sudeikis being the other lead, and I'm like, in. Sudeikis is the man. Fact. End of story. You mix sexy with funny, it's just a win. So if you'd like to see the full trailer, as well as the sexy time gallery of Miss Jennifer Aniston with some gifs included, link to that down below. I think this week might be showing that I'm kinda semi into older ladies. Anyways. Then today we had the US government formally admitting they killed 4 US citizens in a drone attack. A letter addressed to the leading members of Congress revealed that the Obama administration had intentionally killed hardline Muslim cleric Anwar al-Awlaki in a 2011 one drone strike. The letter goes on to explain that while he was the target, it acknowledges that they also killed 3 other people: Samir Khan, al-Awlaki's 16-year-old son, and 22-year-old Jude Muhammad, who were not specifically targeted by the United States. And it's very interesting that they're doing this now, because previously they refused to say, yeah, we did it, or no, we didn't do it. And when these things come out, I always wonder like how the far right can be like, Obama's a Muslim who apparently loves killing other Muslims, and then the super left somehow still justifying this, but if like George Bush had done this, they would have lost their shit. And from the reaction, I've seen a lot of people that are like just torn on it. We live in a country where the belief is you have a right to a fair trial, but we killed 4 American citizens overseas, even if one of them was definitely a terrorist. Then you get into that weird gray area conversation: is collateral damage here less than potential damage of the target in the future? And so nation, that's a question I want to pose to you. What are your thoughts on this? Is it straight up wrong? Is it a justifiable but also slippery slope? Or no, it's understandable? And to possibly be pelted with an Xbox 360, leave a comment down below, join the conversation, maybe hit the like button, favorite while you're at it. But of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love your faces, and I'll see you Saturday.